Hi, I'm Quincas and I'm a synth DIY guy. Welcome to today's video, which is about the Stoichea module out of the 4-module Euclidean series by Rebel Technology, which you can get at the Befaco store. And this time we're going to do it differently. We're going to first demonstrate the module and then we'll see how it's built. You should see on the index below where the build starts. So if you want to jump ahead to that first and then come back and look at the demo, you can do that. Stoichea is a dual Euclidean sequencer. It algorithmically generates rhythmic sequences from an input trigger signal. The name, Stoichea or Elements, comes from the title of Euclid's book Elements, in which the algorithm was first described. This goes way back. In the 3rd century BCE, the Greek mathematician Euclid described the way to determine the largest common denominator of any two integers. As it turns out, his method is the same as what people have used to divide beats into rhythms across the globe, from ancient to modern times. The cultural and historical range covered by these rhythms is nothing short of breathtaking, from Brazilian samba and bossa nova to Bulgarian folk dances, 13th century Persian drum patterns, and complex polyrhythms of West and Central Africa. Alright, so let's have a play with the Stoichea. I have already set up a patch here on the modular. And basically we have the contour 1 acting as the clock, right? Second channel is a sort of hi-hat, which is the orbit 3 in audio rate mode, generating sort of a noise, right? And it's being pitch modulated by the step 8, so that's why we hear these changing sounds, right? And right now it's in divided mode, but I can push this switch up so that it's continuous, right? And what we have here as far as controls are offset, pattern length, and fill, right? So pattern length determines how many steps are in the pattern. Fill means how many of those steps will have on gates, will trigger notes, right? And the top knob over here, which is the offset, it just offsets the pattern by steps, right? So you can have the same pattern, you can move it towards the right or the left, so to speak, right? So if I turn down the fill parameter here, we start hearing no longer is it triggering every note, right? If we put it in the middle, it'll be alternating. Yeah, around the middle there. This is alternating, one yes, one no, right? So this is 50%. There we go. So this is pretty much how we set these, and these are manual, right? We'll look at Class Mata tomorrow, which has voltage control of some of these parameters. But right now, Stoichea is just manual. You play it with your hands, or just set and forget, right? So let's leave this kind of hi-hat sound continuous, because it'll be our reference for the first channel where I've programmed a sort of kick, right? And this is the generate 3 oscillator going through filter 8. We have ornament and crime here acting as a quad envelope generator. We're only using 2 channels for now. And the More 4 is acting as VCAs, right? Everything going into ST Mix and out to my audio interface. So right here, if I turn channel 1 all the way, we start hearing a continuous sort of 4 on the floor kick, right? I can put this in the middle position and sort of turn it off. And I can put it on the top position, and now it triggers twice as fast, right? So it's actually responding to each trigger. So we can actually turn down our clock here. And now we can use the fill knob to design our drum pattern. So there's a cool pattern right there. Dong dong do dong 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 do dong 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 do dong. Dun 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 dun. Oh, I can't really remember it. Well, if we can make this pattern shorter, right? And then it becomes more repetitive. If I bring it down to 1, it's just gonna trigger on every one. Right? So this is the middle knob is where you set the length. And the length goes from 1 to 16. right? So the middle it will be 8 steps. There you go. This is really cool rhythm right there. Let's make it a little shorter. Da-dun, 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 da-dun. Maybe more notes. Da-ga-da-da-dun, da-go-da-ga-dun, pa-go-go-da-gun, cha-go-ga-cha-gun, cha-go-ga-cha-gun, cha-go-ga-cha-gun. Right? Very cool. I can make it more sporadic. Dum, 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 dum. A little more. More fill. And you can just play around, and I can move where the pattern starts with this offset. So it moves the first one relative to the clock and relative to the second one. Very cool. In fact, I can also control the pitch of our kick drum here if we want, with the sequencer there. In fact, let me use through 0 FM here. Get more subtle. Very cool. I can come over here and make the K a little shorter on that kick. Make it a little louder relative to the hi-hat, so we can really hear those patterns. Make the length a little longer. A little more fill. Very cool. And I can quickly disable the hi-hat for a second, or make it every other hit instead of every hit, or back to every hit. Cool. I can change the sequence pattern here for different sounds. Now there are a couple of other things that can happen here. One of them is there's a reset input here. We can reset the sequence and it'll just start the patterns again. We can grab one of the There you go, one of the gate outputs from step 8 here. And that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So right now it's resetting at every 6th step. So that makes it more repetitive, right? And it locks both sides of Stoichea together. It's no longer, they can no longer have separate lengths, right? I can grab on 5 here. Now we can change by changing the offset knob, we generate different patterns. Very cool. Let's go to 8 here. Now let's remove this. Over here we have a switch in the middle. If you go all the way to the top, it just disables So it's kind of a global mute, right? Similar to what you can do by having both of these in the middle. Now, if I go to the bottom position, what it'll do is it'll now be a single channel. So both outputs will be the same. And the pattern will be the sum of both patterns. So it'll go through pattern number 1 and then, or A, and then pattern B in sequence like this. So you can actually do more complex patterns this way. So let's hear that. So now we hear both of our sounds are occurring together, right? And the pattern is more complex because it's one followed by the other. Let's make this a little faster. And again, I can have the first one be less dense and then the second one be super dense. So that's super cool as well. Now let's go back to the middle one. Create some more interesting combinations here between them. So now we have a 4 on the floor on the kick, and what's creating more interest and variation is the hi-hat. Very cool polymetric stuff you can do with this. Now I've changed the offset of the hi-hat. It's creating a different rhythm. Here we go. Change the offset again. Change the length. Can make it more fill. Suddenly go into A plus B mode for maybe like a fill or something. And then go back. Now let's change the fill setting on the kick drum here. Maybe get a little bit more interesting pattern. So cool. So this is algorithmic rhythm programming on modular. This is a very simple beginning. Things will get more complex as we start adding more of these modules. So each subsequent video after this one will add more of these black Rebel technology modules. The next one will be Class Mata, which is just a one-channel rhythm sequencer, but with CV control. So that these changes that I'm here doing manually, those can be done with CV control on Class Mata. So we'll look at that one next, and then we'll look at Logi and I don't know how to pronounce this one. I'll look it up later. Now that we kind of understand what's going on with this module, why don't we have a look at doing things maybe in audio rate? So I'm going to turn my clock. Up to audio rate. Right? Now things are a little crazier. Let's see what happens when we start changing. Let's make these envelopes super short. So we can really that's kind of cool, right? Since these are mathematical, the frequency jumps kind of in notes as I add more fill. also can become a nice little noise generator as well, as we start being more experimental and using audio rate clocking. Now we can also use the sequencer to control the rate of the clock here. All right. So that varies as well. And off to madness we go. Here's kind of a Geiger counter sound. We probably want a little more decay on these. Ooh, that sounds really nice. Right now we're in A plus B mode. Let's go back to the main mode. Cool. So this is not quite audio rate, but it's super fast. Anyway. And you can get this really interesting, super fast rhythmic divisions here. So yeah, play around, experiment, and that's it for the demo. Let's go ahead and check out how to build the module in case you bought the kit. Let's go do that. Let's continue with today's building marathon. I'm building all 4 of Rebel Technology / Befaco modules, new kits that are coming out. The last one is this guy, Stoichea, I guess is how it should be pronounced, I hope. So the first thing notice is we have a big old manual. So yeah, they're simple, they're easy, and they're fun. So first thing, let's sort of organize things on the workbench. It's starting to get late here. And let me show off my forest again a little bit. This is where I'm working. I'm working out in the outside portion of my little studio shack. This is the PCB. Well, this one looks like it's gonna be a cinch. It's a tiny one. Now let's start plugging in components here. And now is when the manual comes in handy. So we have 9 1K resistors. 9, that's probably these guys, right? But still, I like to double check. The multimeter says 0.996K. Gently bend the leads like this. No need to push it super close to the resistor body. So the next most numerous resistor value is 3, which we're supposed to have 3 of 10K resistors. I'll measure to confirm. And indeed 9.9K it says, which is close enough to 10K. Are 3, 5, and 15. The next most numerous value are 2 resistors. And there are 3 values that have 2 of each. So that's probably these guys right here. This is 100 ohms. 100K, we have 2 100Ks, and those are R2 and R14. Okay, why not plug in this big old diode while I'm at it. This is a power diode. There are only 2 resistors left, R16 and 17. Let's solder these boys up. Or girls, I don't know.
I think they're girls.
Why?
Because I'm a girl and I like girls. Because I'm a girl.
There you go. I think I got them all for now. And that was pretty, so far it's the simplest kit, I think. Let's put on the IC socket. Okay, so that's the socket. Why not put this IC right on it already? A couple of caps. This is the resonator for the IC. And here are the ceramic capacitors, the 100 nanofarad ceramic capacitors. One goes there, another goes here. Oh wait, there's one more ceramic here. Let's put that one in. Here it is. 10 microfarad 35 volt electrolytic capacitors. And there's two of them. There are two of them. And as you can see, both of them get the negative side, the white line, towards the outside of the board, facing away from the chip. Okay, now the... Oh look, there's an IC. Did I drop it? Did I drop it? Maybe it's in this baggie. Oh look, here's the missing banana nut from the other build. Yeah, but I still need that regulator though. Oh, you know what? Let's leave that for last. Probably have one anyway somewhere. We'll just leave that pad empty for now. Plug in everything else. Make sure the flat side of the transistor matches the drawing on the silk screen. Okay. The rounded side always lined up with the rounded side of the drawing on the silk screen. I'm gonna go ahead and solder these. Yeah, I can't go on now because the next step is the panel components, and once we put those on we don't have access to the IC unless I solder it from the back. No, let's just find it. I'm gonna pause the video, okay? Recording again. Recording! I found the missing link, the whatchamacallit.
You should call it Bluey.
Hold on. L78L05, which is the voltage regulator that we needed to continue the build. The pots on all of these Rebel Befaco builds, they need a nut to go on the shaft before the panel. So while I'm waiting for my iron to warm up, that's what I'm gonna do. Let's just see if that iron is warm enough now and move on to the panel stuff. Cut off those leads. The power connector is the only thing that goes on the back of the board. It's the only silk screen. Okay. I'll solder one, verify that it is, and then continue soldering. Okay. Now let's assemble the hardware stuff. Okay, the jacks now. And now there are some switches. There are 3 switches. Let's get the nuts out of these switches. We only need one, and it'll be after. We have 3 LEDs as well. Long leg, round hole. That's the mantra for today. Long leg, round hole. Okay, now just slip that panel on. The challenge will be probably getting the switches through. So that makes it easy. We can start with 1 nut for each switch. And here we have banana nuts where reds are outputs and blacks are inputs. I have the Befaco too. Well, I have like tons of these Befaco tools. Let's keep going here. I'm just gonna go ahead and solder these. Now remember the LEDs, I'm gonna maintain my standard here, and I'm gonna have them like a little bit out, so not flush to the panel but not completely out either. I'm missing a pot, or it just sort of came out. Weird. Oh, wait a minute. One of these has two. I'm gonna have to pull the whole panel apart. One of these pots has two nuts in it. I'm probably gonna speed through this part because you guys don't deserve. Alright, so see how like a tiny little mistake can be a huge hassle? Just a single second nut on a pot. Maybe have to go all the way, backtrack about 15 minutes worth of work. And everything's super nice and tight. I can actually already soldered on these LEDs, so I can cut off those leads. And all you're gonna see is me putting on these really tight knobs. So I'm just gonna tighten them up, tighten the shafts as much as I can so the knobs can fit. Yeah, give it a good squeeze. Get another good squeeze here, and so on. There you go, put some pressure on it. Yeah, this is definitely the toughest part of these builds. Looks great. Let's see what it does and have some fun with it. That's it for today. I hope you liked the video. I hope you liked the channel. I hope you like the Stoichea module. Stay tuned tomorrow, or if not tomorrow, the day after tomorrow, but I'm trying to get these out fast. We're going to have a look at Plasmata, and then subsequently all four of these amazing Rebel technology, Euclidean rhythm generators and processors and bursts and all that stuff, all that good stuff. That's it. See you soon, and stay noisy.